Alright, so we got this all organized, and Deb Jordan's going to be calling in, so I have to wait. I told him 2 minutes because I have to get all this organized and reset and all that kind of stuff. So give me a second. That's exactly what I'm doing right now, is resetting everything. Hopefully this doesn't bleed over into the last bit that I was doing. And hopefully the person I was talking to got the right phone number. And I'm also going to add that phone number right into, although I will not be taking calls from anybody but Deb Jordan. The person I talked to, I'm hoping he got the number right, but that's the number right there, 702-605-4277. And so now it is a matter of wait time. Oh, also, Pete and Tilly, Eamon Bundy, and Mel Bundy are now out into general population. They're not, or at least in Nevada, they're not being held in solitary confinement. And I'm sorry for the dead air. We're just waiting for Deb to call. I've been following this Hampstead stuff all day. My God. I mean, really? Do people like this exist in our planet, in our world? Okay, well, crap. I'm still waiting. Come on, man. Come on. Because I'm doing dead air. doing dead air, and waiting. I do find it interesting, just how the Patriot community is absolutely destroying itself under itself. Frustrating. Frustrating and waiting. Sorry, folks. I'm frustrating and waiting. This is why I always say, can you give me their number? That way I can just call there and get this done, so we don't end up with this kind of issue. Hold on a second. I gotta make a call. Hold on. Sorry for the dead air. There's nothing I can do about this. Hey, Jeremy. This is Hog. Oh, all right. I'm sitting on dead air now for about 3 minutes now. That's why I said 2 minutes. All right, we need to get going because we're sitting on dead air and losing listeners because they think they don't want to hear me go. Where's the caller? You know what I'm saying? All right. All right. Okay, cool. Bye. Lord. Should I play parody songs on Obama? I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm not used to being on the out of control end of trying to control trying to control a show. I mean, this would be a good segment, and it's going to be a good segment. But I don't want to infiltrate this segment with just my irritated things about how all this is going down. But I don't know. Maybe I should. We got all these issues that have gone on over the last month, in which. Okay, wait a minute here. Hold on. All right, 702, you're on there. Is that Deb?
Hi, this is Deb. Yes.
Oh, wow. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, sir?
Well, I'm not doing too bad.
Good.
I've been worried about you. I couldn't get a hold of you, and then somebody told me I wasn't allowed to talk to you anymore, so...
Oh, yeah. Really?
So anyway, update, man. What the hell is going on out west?
Oh, my goodness. Well, out west we have, the Bundy, the United States versus Bundy, kicking off to a pretty ruckus start here. The defendants from Oregon, who are tied to the case here in Nevada, they were transported here Thursday, and to face the arraignment here, which happened on Friday, and we were there to witness that event. So Pete Santilli came earlier, like a week earlier, because he had a pretrial release hearing that he had to supposedly that he had to deal with. As everybody knows, that probably one of the last times I talked to you was when I was in Portland, and the prosecutor, Myrie, had come from Nevada to argue his case in front of Anna Brown, Judge Anna Brown, who is presiding over the case in Oregon, why she should not release Pete Santilli to a halfway house, and so that he can get on with his business and help in his own defense.
Well, it kind of seems like everybody needs to be out so they can actually develop their own defense. But there's some good news, as I understand, enveloped in all this, in which Eamon and Mel have been released into Gen Pop.
Right.
Is that true?
It is true, happening here.
All right. I just want to, a lot of people have been relieved by that, and I just wanted to make sure that all the people that are listening right now understand that. But there are a lot of people there are a lot of people out there that go, oh, they've been released into general population. That means they've been set free from jail. No, that's not what they mean.
No,
so
it
anyway,
isn't.
Exactly. Yeah. So anyway, continue, Deb.
Well, to understand why everyone is so relieved about Ammon being released into general population, you have to understand what's happening not only here in Nevada, but also what's happening in Portland, Oregon. And that is when these men and women are first incarcerated, they are treated to what the government calls a segregated lockdown, which means that they are not allowed to have any kind of human contact with anybody other than a guard. And they are in their cells for 23 hours and, allowed out 1 hour at the guard's discretion. Segregated means that, they, like I said, they can't have any contact. So usually they're only allowed out at night when everyone else has gone in for the night and is on lockdown. So
may I interrupt?
Sure.
I was looking at the Guantanamo, going over how they operate in Guantanamo. And do you know that is exactly how they operate in Guantanamo over terrorist intakes?
Yes, absolutely. These men and women are being treated as terrorists in the beginning. It usually takes a couple of weeks for them to ease up on that a little bit. But in this case, I think because of all the phone calls and the outcry from citizens and different groups of just regular average Americans, and not only that, but legislators here in Nevada, they were able to get Ammon at least out pretty quickly out of that situation. But it was pretty horrible what he went through when he was first brought to Nevada. He was handcuffed. Of course, they handcuffed them and shackled them for their ride here, which was biplane under heavy guard, the same as Pete was. Pete was brought here under the same circumstances a week prior to this, and they keep them handcuffed the whole time. It's very uncomfortable, as you can imagine. But Ammon was handcuffed.
Yeah, actually, I've been there.
Right, so he was handcuffed, he and all the rest of them, not just Ammon, but they were handcuffed, but Ammon in particular was handcuffed 24 hours, and 11 hours of that was to a bench. Now, he had Ryan handcuffed to him, so they were able to converse during that time, but they weren't fed, until, there was some outcry. Ammon was actually not fed for a long time. So, it was under really bad circumstances, and they've just really been through it. They really put these guys through it when they transport them, and it's just a horrible thing. So the attorneys in Oregon fought valiantly to keep them in Oregon and keep this from happening. They're really fighting the idea the government has that they can try both of these cases at the same time in two different states. There's a huge question as to whether or not they can get a fair trial this way. I mean, how in the world do you put together two defenses? And one, the one here in Nevada, where they've had 2 years to build their case against these men, and then how does the defense put together a good defense in just a few weeks, or a couple of months? Well,
plus they're demanding deadline kind of filings while one is in one place and one is in the other place.
Correct.
I was looking at Arnold Law Office the other day, and he got he got thrown out of court.
He did. I was sitting right beside him.
Yeah, it's just
when that happened. Yes.
Yeah, and it's gone beyond ridiculous, and color of law is lost, and there is absolutely no due process going on here at this point. It just seems like there is a game. It's like a video game. It's like, when I look at this, I go, okay, so they're using this against that, and that against this, and this against that. It's like mixing colors of dye into a water, and then just, you understand what I'm trying to say?
Oh, I do.
And you mix all these colors of dye into the water, and then start swirling it together, and it just becomes brown after a certain point, in which there is no color of law. It's just all brown. So and you understand what I'm saying, I'm sure. So anyway, continue.
Peek right in the middle of it. Yes, there's a lot of news coming out of Nevada today. Now, I've talked to Pete's attorney, Tom Cohen in Portland. And I've also talked to, and we'll talk more about Pete's case here in just a second, but I've also talked to Ammon Bundy's attorney today. And, they're pleased that Ammon and the rest are starting to be treated just a little bit better. Some of the things that have happened with with these guys and the marshals, it's kind of strange, because on one hand, it's kind of like a good cop, bad cop thing. On one hand, you have those marshals that talk to them very disrespectfully, and they have no regard for their humanity, for their civil rights, their well-being, none. We had a female marshal. They don't wear badges either, so you don't know what their names are. But one female in particular was reported by Ryan Bundy as saying after the hearing was over on Friday, she was talking to the other guards, the other marshals. She pointed at Ryan and Ammon and said, "These two are nothing but scum pieces of shit, and they don't deserve to eat." That's what she said, because Ammon, of course, alerted the judge what had happened to him, and that, it was just a cruel punishment. It went beyond, what a prisoner should have to endure. There are rules that they have to follow.
Yeah, Guantanamo tactics.
Yeah. So, first of all, I want everybody to know that there's a lot of news coming out of Nevada today. Cliven Bundy's defense just the other day, and this is making its rounds in the papers down here, that his defense came out swinging over remarks that Harry Reid had made on the House floor about Cliven Bundy being exactly where he deserved to be. Now, this all made it into national news. So the defense is saying, everybody has to understand that this is big news down here, and you may not hear it on national news, but it's in the local papers here, that Cliven Bundy's defense attorney, Joel Hansen, said that, he believed that Harry Reid's remarks on the floor of the Senate last week, calling Bundy an outrageous lawbreaker and saying he was where he should be in jail, was corrupting the jury pool. So that's big news here today, and a lot of people are talking about that.
Well, yeah, definitely. When you keep all these guys shut up in solitary confinement, all of them have been shut up. Shauna Cox and all of them have been gag ordered. They're not allowed to talk, so it's very easy for the press and the powers that be and all the people that want this land for whatever reason they want it for. We've all done our research, and we know why. I'm not going to go into that because that's a whole different show. But it's very clear at this point, as far as I'm concerned, that they have set all these guys up and put them in a position in which they cannot even possibly defend themselves. And now they're using the press as a conviction process for the sheep, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it's like when you only hear one side of the story, that's the only side of the story you're going to follow.
Exactly. And everybody should be aware that Joel Hansen also pointed out during his reprimand that the judge that's presiding over the hearing here over this case, her name is Gloria Navarro. I believe it's Navarro. Yeah, it is Gloria Navarro. She was appointed to the bench by none other than Harry Reid himself.
Yeah, right. Yeah, actually, I read that myself.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to see this moving itself further and further down the line, and the Patriot community itself is destroying itself from with the inside, and it's kind of freaking me out. You know me. I was on the ground out there. We were standing right next to you at several conferences and all that kind of stuff, and we are watching the Patriot community destroy itself. Maureen Pelter,
Yes, Peltier. Uh-huh.
Peltier.
Yes.
It looks like a French name. She won't. I don't want to go into drama, but she won't even talk to me anymore because of some stuff and that I won't go into. But it's like the Patriot community is being ripped apart by all these little people with their little fingers knuckle deep beyond, beyond the borderline, as Toole says.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't fix anything unless we all get our shit together and come together.
I will agree with that. And this is a time when we all have to be really careful about, of course, about what we say and who we say it to and how we say it. But there's also this thing that the FBI started in 1956. It's called COINTELPRO. So a lot of that stuff that we fear, and we go about labeling this person this and that person that, and we don't even know why we're doing it. We just heard it somewhere and it sticks, and we start regurgitating that, and pretty soon, everybody's fighting with one another, and everybody's just cannibalizing them. The groups that they formed, good groups that they formed, because of rumors and innuendo, and listening to one person and listening to another, and and not that they're doing it on purpose either. It's just how the mechanism of COINTELPRO works, and so we have to be very mindful and very careful of that too. Until somebody actually shows me that they have ill intent toward me, I will continue to speak wherever someone offers me a platform, as long as they're decent to me, and they don't even have to really agree with what I say or things that I do. But as long as there is respect there, we need to get this message out wherever we can get it out, and that's what winning the info war is all about.
Yeah, definitely. I discovered by accident. Mo has been following this website. It's the Fog something. Anyway, yes. I can't even remember. Anyway, I went and analyzed the website, downloaded the entire website and all their code. That's a doxing website.
Sure.
People need to stay off of that website. They are trying to bring people onto that website to run a C-target drive and grab your hard drive if you are not well protected and using proper software. And,
correct.
And I tried to tell her 4 times today. I was like, stop going to that website. They're doxing your ass.
Well, I've seen a lot of COINTELPRO going on, and now it's not necessarily the government that even has to perpetrate it anymore, that people kind of do it to themselves. But you still have to be very careful. Now, they say that program, I don't know if anybody knows about, we'll just go over it a little bit here. In 1956, the FBI came up with, and the CIA came up with a program they called COINTELPRO. And it was to infiltrate the communist groups. And it was when the big communist witch hunt was on in the United States of America. And what they would do, they would infiltrate these groups and seem like absolutely normal people on your side, and then they would get in there and they would start rumor like this person's having an affair with this person, and usually the leaders were the ones that they would pinpoint out, and they would cause great disruption. Their greatest tool is to accuse someone of being an FBI informant. And then that way everybody starts getting suspicious, and then everybody starts calling everybody an FBI informant. And pretty soon paranoia takes over, and the group just eats itself. It just falls apart. It just can't sustain itself under that kind of stress and that kind of paranoia. And it works brilliantly and beautifully. And they always have one person or two people or a group of people that write horrifying articles or, put out false propaganda and false accusations against these people in the group, and pretty soon it just falls apart. It just implodes. I mean, there's just no saving it. It's a tool that they use, and I'm sure that it's still in use today, even though it was uncovered. And they're not supposed to be using those kinds of tactics anymore. I'm sure they still do. I mean, it's quite evident that it's being used in both these events.
Well, yeah, it's things get weirder every day, and it just never stops.
Well, and you know where it's coming from? It's not weird. It's absolutely by the playbook. Years ago when Pete was helping with the Truckers' Ride for the Constitution, that's when it started for him. He had been infiltrated by some people who turned against him and were able to put out personal information and twist it and turn it and make it seem like it was something that it was not. Like a simple eviction turns into a jailing and a trespass or some of these things that can turn into armed robbery.
Yeah, I understand that. Actually, me and at the time that this went on, Ziva Andrews and Pete Australian guy.
I won't say his name, but yes.
Anyway, they were
from New Zealand.
Yeah, they were both hosts over here at my station, and then they were filling my head with bullshit. And then I went and looked, and I went, honestly, that whole, and this is what got me banned to you. This is what got me banned from your YouTube channel. I said, what the hell does Operation Outtruck mean? And, but I looked at that document, and I'm going, wow, that is one of the most photoshopped messes I've ever seen.
It is. And what people don't realize, because there's been so much time that has lapsed between now and when those so-called FBI faxes came out, was that there were two faxes at the same time on the same day that came out. One said Operation Overtruck, the other one said Operation Mind F. There were two different times on both of them, but the body of the fax was the same. It is so blatantly, Pete has spent the last 3 years trying to defend himself against that, and really, COINTELPRO works so that there is no defense. The more you try to defend yourself, the more they come up with, and the more they perpetrate it. And the FBI and their psychologists know that people are more prone to believe a lie if it's said over and over and over again. All they have to do is plant the seed and wait.
Yeah, it's the Jerry Springer effect, and who the hell sends a fax to anybody anymore?
You're right. Yeah, and I mean, as ludicrous as it was, we thought, well, this, nobody's going to believe this. I remember but people did actually believe it.
Yeah, I remember in 2002, somebody asked me to send them a fax, and I was like, what? All right, I need to find a place where I can actually send a fax, because I don't think that even works anymore.
Right.
So, anyway.
Well, a lot of that information is going to be coming out in court. There are actually, some there's some clear evidence that this was perpetrated on purpose to defame and to slander Pete Santilli, and for no other reason than to rob him of his radio show, and to strip him of any chance of ever making a living or being able to grow. And
well, I understand that. I understand that. I don't know if you heard the news, but John B. Wells killed mine.
Well, we've heard that a lot of people have undergone the same thing. So, there's a lot of evidence out there that points to and specific people that were in on that operation and purposefully did it. And, so a lot of that's going to be coming out, and we look forward to challenging the, what they put out there. We look forward to challenging that during this case, actually.
I hope so, and I hope
Yes.
I hope people have my back. But anyway, let's. Okay, so we went out onto the tangents, but let's get back into the middle of this focus. What's next? What's next, Deb?
Okay, well, if we're speaking specifically of Pete, let's get that out of the way. And Pete is actually going to be. He fired his attorney that was appointed to him, and I really have all that much to say. There's other people out there that have said a lot about it already, but that is the truth. He did do that because. Just because he felt that this particular attorney was not engaged and, too busy and didn't take his case seriously enough. And the bottom line is that he just lost confidence, and he felt uncomfortable. So he asked for him to recuse himself, and he's been waiting to be appointed another attorney, which is going to happen on Thursday morning. And Pete's been here for 3 weeks now, 20 days, something like that, 21 days, and he feels like it's just, he's wasted his time by coming here early. But anyway, we're going to get that straightened out. He's not going to have enough time to, he's just not going to have enough time to put on a good pretrial release hearing. So he's probably going to be asking for a couple of more days here. They're already talking about, the other men going back to Oregon. And, Pete he is yet to have that pretrial release hearing. So he will be appointed. We're hoping another attorney come Thursday, and that's just not enough time for the new attorney to get caught up. But we're just going to have to play that out one day at a time and see what happens. Now, in the case of the other men, I believe it's Friday. There's going to be another one of those infamous hearings where they're all going to be present, and the judge is going to be ruling on whether or not this is a complex case. Everyone has put in and waived their, and not waived the right, but refused to waive the right for a speedy trial. But the problem, and so that creates a problem. Because, we have people down here like Eric Parker and Cliven Bundy who have already been sitting in jail down here as long as everybody else has been sitting in jail up in Oregon. So, and these guys can't get their case heard because they're wanting to try it all as one and just the same way they are in Oregon. It's just messed up. It's so complicated, and it is complex, and everybody expects for the judge to rule that this is going to be another one of those complex cases, which gives them the right to take as much time as they want to and strip everybody of their right to a speedy trial.
Well, it just seems like they're working on a way to drag this out to a point that people forget about it.
Well, no doubt that that's one of the benefits of what they're doing here. Yes, and they're making it so complicated and so costly that it's just impossible for these guys to get a decent trial in either place. Right now, Pete's attorney has lost 3 weeks, precious weeks, because the judge in the Oregon case plans to go to trial and start jury selection on September the 7th.
Right, but, that's what I was trying to say. It just seems like they want to keep dragging it out until, we've all watched this. People that are paying attention, people that are listening, people that are watching. We use social media and all that kind of stuff. My own channel, your channel, on YouTube, Facebook, and anywhere else, Twitter, whatever, people that are paying attention are decreasing every day in actually huge numbers. So, it just seems like they want to keep dragging this out until nobody is paying any attention, is the point I was trying to make.
Right. In some respects, that's a good thing in some respects, because it gives the attorneys breathing room to work on their case. It gives the people who are surrounding the case, witnesses and things like that, more time to concentrate on the things that they need to be concentrating on. Lots of things are happening in the background as far as evidence gathering and all of those things go. So, and I know, you know what I mean, I have absolute confidence that as soon as these trials get started, the attention will peak again. People aren't going to let this go. And, it's been like proven today when the information about Ammon being released into general population came out this morning. It just went viral. I mean, even you have heard about it. So I believe that people, there's always a lull. People have to get on with life, and we expect that to happen. But there's enough people out there still pushing out information and still keeping it fresh and alive. I don't think that the United States government has ever come up against anything like this, where the people and supporters have stayed so engaged. And I believe you're right. They're hoping that people will lose interest, but I just don't think that's going to happen in this case. Either one of these cases, I don't believe it's going to happen.
Yeah, they keep forgetting about the forgotten. And let's not forget about the forgotten. This whole thing started over the Hammonds.
Yes.
We have a rally going on at the end of the month. Mm-hmm. And also David Fry. David Fry is still sitting in solitary up in Oregon, right?
He is by choice. A lot of these guys don't want to be out in general population. Eric Parker has refused, although I've heard that Eric is going to be he's going to be filling out those forms and getting out in general population. You have to understand what they've done to some of these people. They've scared them and said that this group doesn't like you and that group doesn't like you, so you should just stay in solitary confinement. So, a lot of these guys are in solitary confinement. If they're still in solitary confinement, mostly it's because of choice. Jerry Delemus has chosen to stay in solitary confinement, and I do know that Ryan Bundy filled out his form to be released into general population, and he was denied, and we don't know why. But we're sure that probably either tomorrow or the next day that he will be released.
You see, that's something none of us knew.
Right.
You just gave us something that none of us knew, because,
right.
I watch everything every day. You know me,
sure.
Deb. You know me, Deb. I report everything every day, everything I see. And I'm watching everything. I have never heard that before.
Yeah, that's what's happening. And I'm sure that more people will, and because they're not out in general population, and because they're not, able to be on the phone and talking to people, a lot of these guys, and listen, Ammon Bundy's attorney is outspoken. I'm outspoken, and we're very active on social media. A lot of these families are not. And you can't put the burden on everybody else to keep your case in the spotlight. You have to, somewhere along the line, somebody has to help, because there are so many of these guys. I mean, how many are there now? 40-something altogether? That's really a hard thing to keep up with. I know that myself and Michelle Fiore, we spent last Thursday all afternoon at the Pahrump facility visiting with, we visited with Brian Cavalier, Blaine Cooper, Brian Payne, visiting with these men. And,
well, yeah, definitely. And they're arresting people that were taking pictures at the bridge, and I had I had a federal trace run on me because I have a friend that is a sheriff, and I'm considered a person of interest myself.
Sure.
What the hell did I do?
Well, probably just because you're talking about it and you were at one of the sites. So that's just that's how it goes. I mean, that's just the way it is. You never get comfortable with such a thing, but you have to accept it that that they are going to look at you. They are, and that's just the way. And isn't that what this is all about? Isn't that why this whole thing started in the first place? Is government overreach?
Well, yeah, definitely. But yet, just to go way wide in this mowing circle, you look at Ferguson, Baltimore, all this kind of stuff.
Right.
None of those people are facing any of this kind of retribution.
Right, including Pete Santilli. Let's not forget that Pete Santilli spent 2 weeks in Baltimore.
I definitely, I was watching that.
So he didn't do anything in Oregon that he didn't do in Baltimore. He wasn't questioned about his support for people to come there and to speak there and redress their grievances, and the government show that they were engaged and wanted to speak out against that. And a lot of things happened in Baltimore. We had 4 helicopters flying over our heads with loud speakers demanding that everybody leave, or or they were going to be arrested. I had pepper spray was so thick in the air that it got in my eyes and my mouth. It was and the National Guard was there, full tacked out with ARs and ready. They were on the ready, and so were the SWAT teams, blocking off every single street. There was a curfew in place, and some of the rallies that they had there ended up with police officers being confronted and cars being turned, police cars being turned over. We witnessed all of that, and nobody, and there was a lot of media out there,
So why
especially independent.
So why do you think there is a difference between what happened there in Baltimore and Ferguson and what happened in Oregon? Which was a lot worse, by the way. Yeah. What do you think the difference? The other day I was looking at all of the stuff that is going on, the Guantanamo-like tactics, and Lavoy was a friend of mine. I talk to him every day, and
right.
I look at this and I go, good God, I think Lavoy got the better end of this mess. And I never want to say that somebody that is past got the better end, but as I look at what's going on out there, out west, I'm in Kentucky, but and I, good God, I'd never want to see Lavoy dead, but it's like, did he get the better end of this?
Sure. I mean, that is a question, isn't it? He of course, he expressed the idea that, he would never want to be in prison and lose his liberty and go through what these guys are going through. But, listen, when I think about Mr. Finicum, I think about his last moments, and I think that there was an innocence with all of these men and women who thought, yes, our government is out of control. Yes, our government is overreaching, but they would never really hurt us. They would never do that. They would never really hurt us.
Right.
And I think that they were, they made an error. They made an error. And I believe that when, this is only my belief, okay? So, I mean, I don't know, but just watching it and hearing and being able to spend some time with this thought, I really do believe that when Mr. Finicum exited that truck, he wanted to draw fire away from everyone else, and plus, no doubt he was angry. But I really, even though he was saying shoot me, I don't believe for 1 minute he ever thought that they would.
Nor do I. I tear up and get upset so badly every time I have to look at that or think about that. You and me, we're the same. I was, me and Lavoy talked every day for about at least for 15 days before this happened. And it just destroys my soul when I have to ever look at that. And I spent time looking at that and ripping the FBI apart and all that kind of stuff. And I'm tearing up right now thinking about it. But, it's just so disgusting at this point how this has gone down and how the federal government handled this. And, is somebody going to investigate this? Is somebody actually going to seriously investigate this? We've seen news stories in which they say they're going to investigate it, but of course, just like Randy Weaver and everybody else, they might get off, or they might get set free, but all the people involved in committing that murder will, of course, be set free as well.
Yes. Yes, and like Lon Horyushi, who was the fatal sniper in both Ruby Ridge and in Waco. He went on to assume a different identity and is in protective. In the witness protective program where he's protected. I don't know if it's witness protected program, but he's definitely, assumed a different identity, and nobody knows where he is. So he is able to go on with his life. I mean, after it was proven and well known that he just straight up murdered Vicki Weaver. I mean, that's all there is to it. And they had a reason for doing that. They deduced that if they took out her, that the rest, and which is why Mr. Weaver won his case. He proved it, and that if they took her out, that he would fall apart. And that was their solution that they came up with, was to kill his wife.
Actually, I would fall apart too if my wife was killed, baby in hand or not.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right, folks. Deb, the contact between you and me, I'm going to send him my home number. If you have anything that you want to get on air, all you have to do is let him know, or call my home number, and I will put you directly on air.
Oh, thank you so much.
Oh, that's not a problem whatsoever.
We've been really busy. I have not been doing very many interviews. I've done a few, but not very many. I've just been kind of working really hard at, collecting evidence and getting stuff for, Pete's attorney, and making in Oregon, and making sure that he has the best defense possible. The government has an unlimited amount of resources that they can go to, an unlimited amount of people, unlimited amount of money to build their case, and we have none. So we're afforded by the court, by the state of Oregon, one investigator and one paralegal, and that is it. And the rest of the work has to be done by the people who love these men. And that's why everybody's been really busy. I mean, I haven't been doing it on purpose. I just don't have the time. And usually by the end of the day, I am exhausted. Now, there's been a few days here where I've got some really good rest, and that's a good thing, right? So, our contact got in touch with me, and I was feeling pretty good. So, feeling pretty rested. So I was happy to come on.
All right, no problem. But as I said, anytime you need to go on air and you feel like something needs to be said, I will disseminate it the best I can. I still have the old channel, but I have to break it up into 15-minute segments because of the takedown. But,
sure, we've had that happen many times. We just endure it and get past it. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
I gotta wait till October. So.
Yeah. Sounds familiar.
All right. Anyway, hey Deb, thanks a lot. And if you could do me a giant favor.
Sure.
Let Maureen know that it's okay to talk to me.
Sure. Yeah, I'll be happy to. I got to tell you something. I had to really pull myself back because from all of the stuff that was going on, and I mean, I think everybody's well-meaning, and some of those people I really depend on still, and they don't. I've told them, don't pull me into this stuff. I don't have the energy. I don't have the time. So let's not put a burden on me that I just can't handle right now. So everybody's been really good about not dragging me into all the drama that can be YouTube sometimes.
Yeah,
I don't care what people have to say.
I understand that. I understand that 9,000%.
Yeah. I mean, I really don't care what some YouTuber out there has to say about, Pete or about me. I've gone so far past that. Once you get out of that and you're not a part of it, it's very freeing, And when Pete gets out, I'll let him deal with it, and that'll be just how it is. And if I do come back and start posting, which I will assume that I will pretty soon, it will be I'll be doing stuff and having somebody else post it for me, and probably won't even go in there to see what the reaction is, because I just don't care anymore. I don't care what they have to say. I don't care about their innuendos and their made-up assumptions and their, I just don't have time for all of it. I just don't. So I'll leave that to them.
Well, yeah, like I said today, I discovered the troll school today by accident.
Right.
But I mean, it's like, although your old phone number has fallen away, and I was a little worried about you, but we were talking to you on an every couple of day basis, and then I was talking to Mo about every 3 or 4 days, and now she refuses to talk to me anymore, and because of some other stuff. So if you could help me out, that would be great, so we could keep the information flow moving.
Yeah, surely I can't speak for Mo, and I can't speak for other people. I just can't. I do know that some of the people that you're being gracious enough not to mention their names. Thank you. Those are people some of those people I really depend on, and they are wonderful, wonderful people. They've done tremendous amounts of work for me, and care about me, and check up on me, and just, they're very mindful. So,
I understand that. I understand
right, and
that.
I hated that community that could do such great things, has deteriorated into, infighting and accusatory things. It's sad, really. And but we'll try to mend some fences and find out what's going on, and we'll take it from there. But I can't speak for anybody. But I will have a word with her, of course. I mean, I will see where her head is. but ultimately the decision is up to her.
All right, much appreciated. Thank you very much.
Yeah. All right, thank you, sir.
All right, folks. That was Deb Jordan. We have been getting a catch up on what the hell is going on out west. Must be honest. This shit's crazy, and honestly, something is broken when it comes to due process. So anyway, thank you very much, folks, for listening in, and thank you very much for Deb Jordan for coming on and talking to us. Peace out, folks.